told y'all, it's no joke, no April Fools. We decided to do a show today. So uh, please come aboard, watch the show. I already see a comment. Over under, I believe it's John. Yep, here we go. What's up, fellas? Monday night was pretty good. We got blood when Gunther busted Jimmy open. Swear his blood smeared. Yep. We're definitely getting play-by-play here. Jay, watch Jimmy get like the segment with Cody. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about that. And look, Raw and SmackDown both finally got some WrestleMania movement. And I'm really gonna have my rant about the commentary on Monday night because let's just put it this way: we're gonna talk about SmackDown. SmackDown, you know, with Joe Tess and Wade Barrett. Thank God we got Ladarius working on his stuff, so I'm giving him a little bit. Let me know when you're all good. All right, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the man that doesn't need an introduction, but you know what? He's getting one because he is Mr. Daddy, Mr. Darius Brown. There he is. Darius Brown. There he is. Darius Brown. I was trying to do that Europe thing, but I guess tried it.
Oh, this is the part where I speak. Oh.
Like, I mean, if you like.
No. How are you?
Oh man, I'm here, man.
And then so now we shift. No, I'm just.
No, I'm doing okay, man. You know how it's just. I was heated, but got to talk to you, and I feel a little better. I'll get this off my chest later on, and then I'll feel better even more. But yeah, I just ready to talk wrestling and kind of giving our thoughts and stuff, going from there. So, but what say you? What you want to talk about first here as I get to John's message here. Don't understand why WWE dropped the ball on Bailey and Roxanne. I don't want to see Bailey versus Lyra. I just want to see. But we're going to talk about that because that's actually one of those.
Yeah, it's a legitimate talking point. I think this might be. I'm predicting this might be one of our not say shorter shows, but it's gonna be longer, but it's gonna be shorter. So you guys do the math. It's April Fools. We're not trying to do that. But no, I think let's start at. I think we can start at Raw. You can start at. Yeah,
right.
you want? Yeah, we can start at Raw and then circle back to SmackDown last Friday. Yeah. Then talk about AEW and whatnot.
So, what is your thoughts? Let's talk about this. Yeah, let's talk. Let me ask you this because the big thing coming from the weekend was the announcement that CM Punk's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania, meaning obviously that's night one. We already know night two's got Cena and Cody written all over it. I'm pretty confident that. But what was your view when you heard it? Some people are screaming, it should have been the women. We still don't have a clear answer about the women. But what say you? What do you think? Right choice, wrong choice? What do you think?
Look, my thing is that I understand the outrage about the women not made. I totally get it, and I just think that given the card, I can understand why. Listen, I understand why Cody and Cena is the main event for night two. That's understandable. Night one, you could go either way, but when you look at how the women and how the storylines are being kind of constructed, as great as a match as Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair is going to be, you could co-main event it if you wanted to. But the thing is that there's still some indecisiveness to your point. Is that which we'll get to, about the women's Intercontinental title picture and even the women's United States Championship picture. There's still no clarity on, where they're going to go. And they could go a lot of different routes. Especially, we don't know. The only women's belt that we know, women's belts when it's going to be defended is both the top belts. It's going to be, that's what we know as of this point. We don't know about the women's mid card belts. We don't even. So, given all of that, and that being said, you could make a case that, like I said, Tiffany and Charlotte could be the co-main event for night one. You can make a case because, like I said, I've heard other people, kind of make the same argument. But I guess I put it like this: it boils down to storyline. When we look at these main events, it's about storyline. And the bigger, listen, whether we want to like Cody Rhodes and John, it's the biggest storyline in the company.
Yeah.
And it was already going to be the main event of night two, which makes a lot of sense. And what's up, Ron/April in the chat? And so I guess not to continue on, not to take up the time, but I'll just put it like this: I'm very curious to see how the whole Bianca, Io, and Rhea situation is, because that could make a difference to me. Because I just can't. I'm the type of person that says I just can't picture having certain people not be on the card. I made a case, it was a couple of years ago where Bayley wasn't even on the card.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? And Bayley was healthy. I thought she was hurt or something. No, she was healthy. It's just, I guess the term is like when you're playing, when you're an athlete, like just a healthy scratch, and I'm like on your biggest show of the year. So, and that's applicable to me about Rhea Ripley. I'm like, she's going to be on this card in some capacity. Like, you can't not, like, listen, you could, but to me, I just can't visualize it. So, like, I'm kind of shocked that there's no, listen, they could do, like I said, Tiffany and Charlotte could co-main event, but we just need more clarity on all the other women's titles. Because we have clarity on the two main titles, we have clarity on who's going to fight. It's just the placement on the card, maybe a little bit. I could argue maybe one of them could open up one of the nights.
Yeah,
I can make a case for that. I don't know which one, but that's above our pay grade. But so I'm curious to see the direction of where these belts kind of go. And we'll kind of get into it as well.
Yeah. Before last night, I was one of those that I felt that the women should have been the main event. After SmackDown, I was like, you know what, Punk's there, you got Roman, and you got Seth. They're going to make that match feel special. And I actually feel that. But after what I saw on Raw, I was so freaking aggravated. It was not funny. And I got to go here. When two chuckleheads, and I said other word, but I'm going to be somewhat nice on the show. But when those two morons literally made you want to not even watch the show, that's bad. So we're going to talk all about that. But my thing is this. I want Rhea in there because I think Rhea, Bianca, and Io could tell a great story in the match. I think so. But after what I saw in that match and the way, like I said, I'm going to talk about it later because I want to actually talk about it at that spot. But after hearing Cole and McAfee talk, I don't ever want to hear them call another main event as long as I live. Those guys, Michael Cole is worse now than he was before. When he's with Corey Graves, he's back on Michael Cole level. But when he gets with Pat McAfee, he's a frat boy, wanting to be cool. He wants to be the cool dad. He's the stepfather that has the beer in the cooler, but doesn't, he's only going to give it to you as long as it makes him look cool. And yes, there are guys like that. Michael Cole is that guy. And I'm sorry, it's annoying. And when they both were sounding the same, and during the match, they made that match like a rinky-dink match. It didn't matter. If I closed, like I told Ladarius, if I closed my eyes, I would have thought Bianca was wrestling in the match. So, yeah, I felt bad in that respect. Looks like Rhea is out of Mania because Double DQ didn't like the ending. Rhea and yeah, no, we're gonna get into it. Trust me. Let's see. Hey y'all, Ladarius, you on X shout out for the content you shared. Oh, okay. You own X. Okay, that's all right. My bad.
Christy, I appreciate it. I guess I've been sharing content with the women's Final Four doing preview videos. In fact,
Doing a great job.
There'll be previews coming out before Friday. So probably if it's not out tomorrow, it'll definitely be out Thursday.
Awesome. Man, Final Four is getting real fun now because I can't wait after watching this past stuff. An evening to everybody, Miss Christie has said. So yeah. So I feel like they're going to deliver regardless wherever they're on the card. Charlotte and Tiffany, I don't know, bro. And I'm gonna go here. I don't blame Charlotte, or I don't blame Tiffany. I blame Charlotte. When
Speaking
you
of
look
Tiffany,
at people,
I'm in. Speaking of Tiffany.
okay. So all right, all right, good, because I'm watching. She has not drawn me to any attention. It's like I told you, charisma vacuum, and she's the android. And it. The more you say it, the more she does it. And it's like, could you stop and at least make me look right? Her and her no ass outfit. Sorry, but it's true. And if y'all want to defend it, trust me, there's not many. Trust me, if you're the type of guy that looks at that and goes, awesome, I'm gonna look at you and go, we need to talk, because her body count doesn't really tell you should be in that category. Anyway, only Andrade was a good one, so we'll stick to that. Let's see here. But yeah, I just, but I got to go here. I think the main event, or to say your main event in the show, the way they did with Punk, I thought was awesome. We'll talk more about it when we actually get into it. Seth Rollins looking like an AEW fan. So, and boy, it was not a good night to be an AEW fan. Let's put it that way. Man, so Monday Night Raw kicks off. All right. Promo Battle 3. Cena, Cody. Man, if we had the transcript, I would probably read Cena and you would read Cody. But, man, I always wonder, what did they say in the back? Like, did they, either of them just look at each other and go, all right. Or the Triple H probably just said, don't worry about it, guys. Just say whatever you want. You sure about that? That question was never asked. They just was like, okay, yeet. Cena comes out, has the mic. I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna hear another, and then we hear Cody's music. So I'm like, oh man, it's on. This is so. I was trying so hard to call you, man, because I wanted to hear your thoughts as soon as they were going back and forth. My God. What was your thoughts about it, man? I mean, I'll let you start. What did you think about Cena and Cody? Because I'm going to tell you, people think Cena's the... We kept telling people, oh, Cena's going to cook Cody. They're trying to protect him. I'm going, y'all know that Cody, last I checked, he's related to Dusty Rhodes. Dusty had a promo battle with Ric Flair. So to the point, they sold a video. And all it was called was a War of Words by Cody and Dusty, or Dusty and Rick. And people bought that video. No matches, just them talking. So, and then it's like, did you not see any of Cody's heel stuff? I'm talking, oh, dude, he made people melt. So it's like, I'm going, what are we talking about here? So anyway, what do you think? What do you think? I want to hear you.
Look, I shared it out on X, and I'll say the same thing here. Like, John Cena on the microphone is an absolute masterclass, and somehow him being a heel makes it that much better. And it's like this: the only thing that's changed about him on the microphone is that he's a heel. Like, he didn't change his demeanor, because if you think about it, he said it himself. Even when he was the face, they were still booing him. A lot of people were booing him. So he wasn't lying in that kind. And then, you know what? He took that, went all in on it, And it's like, oh man, you can't. The art of the promo is that you have to spit facts, or better yet, more specifically, say that, oh man, that's a great point. Even if you don't agree with the point, you can say, oh, that's a great point. And that's what Cena has done, literally over there in Europe. And then here, what makes this so great is his presence. And then Cody comes out, and Cody said something. Listen, Cody took it to a level, and it's a problem. People say, oh, Cody's not great on the mic. Like, listen, go watch it. Like AEW, like he was pretty good on the mic. He came to WWE. He was always great on the mic. It's just, I always put it like this: we create dispositions about people, and if you didn't like Cody, then you automatically thought Cody got cooked. It's like there's nothing I can tell you that. Oh, but here's the thing: Cody and Cena. If we get these guys on the microphone, and like Cena said, you'll see him at Mania, and I'm sold on that. It's like, look, they're words, and not only to the fact that Cody Rhodes' dad is Dusty, but Cody has owned his own style on the promo. And not to say the difference between him and his dad, but he can go on the microphone. And those who don't, I mean, go to YouTube. Like, there's too much information out there. It's like, if you don't, just Google it. You can look at his promo. He's great at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And that promo on Raw, I could argue that was the best, that we've gotten from these guys, and we're still a couple of weeks away. And I tell people this: see, you don't need The Rock, and that's the point. We know The Rock is a prevalent part of this, but you don't need him. That's storytelling. It's like this: with your favorite show, the main character doesn't have to be on the show every week. But as long as their presence is still felt when he or she when they're not there, that's good stuff. And then when they do return, it creates the anticipation of what are they going to do. So now we're anticipating when The Rock shows up, not if, but when. If he shows up, on Raw or on SmackDown, before WrestleMania, because he will. But to put a button on this, both of those guys, absolute master. Like I say, a masterclass by Cena and Cody, just proving to people again just how great he is on the microphone. Whether you love him or hate him, absolutely great on the microphone.
I'm just glad because now people are going to complain about something else now. Because that's basically what they're going to start doing now. Because I'm hearing, well, what about The Rock? What about The Rock? Here's what I'm going to say. I hope the only thing that you could do that my thing is this: I don't have to see John Cena till maybe one more time, actually see him. All right, and I want him to lay out Cody. All right, but what I would love to see is John Cena be a satellite. Why? Because he's Hollywood. He could do that. And even better, as he says, how do I look, Dwayne? And then Rock shows up behind him. Perfect, champ. And, you can even go from that aspect. If you're going to need The Rock, I don't think you need him. I actually don't. I actually like the fact that this is just Cena and Cody. But if you are going to improve, I would do something via satellite, like a Hollywood star would do. And then the second time, do another satellite. But even better, Cena attacks him. Because why? He's a heel. It's like this. Now after the crossroads, and we finally got physicality, which was great. Someone's like, oh yeah, now they're even. I'm going, first of all, if you call that even, we need to talk. Man kicked me into huevos. Same man hit me with my dad's watch and then busted me open, hit me with the belt, and then I busted my eardrum. I don't think no. Stop with the we even. We ain't even shit. So, but yeah, I would. I love the promo battle. I love. It's like this. What Cena said, great stuff. And when he said the line about I build billionaires or I build empires for billionaires, you just steal the kids' money, their kids' money. And I'm going. And we already heard. And Cody said the line about Vince, which was even great. Anytime you could be derogatory about Vince, I'm all down for it. Especially the guy that liked you, he ain't here. And I love it. It basically is like Cena. One thing I want to hear eventually is that Cena hates that the fans love Cody, but they couldn't accept John Cena for John Cena. And it always comes down to just that simple thing. So deep down, that's where I am. I look forward to. And yeah, let's see. John said, Rock posted on IG, said the reason he wasn't on Raw is he was on a airplane, and it was flying over the ocean, and it was having hydraulic issues. They had
Yeah, that's true. It was an emergency land. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thing is this: relax about The Rock. The reason why I say it, this isn't two guys that can't carry a main event of WrestleMania. These two can do it. All right. It will come together. I hope it does. But, be strategic. Like I said, I would do it. I think this, and the reason why I want to do this satellite one is because remember the time Cena did one, and someone thought they were out, and he goes, "No, I'm right here," and they like pulled all the stuff away, and he comes to go attack the guy. So you could do something similar, but just don't have that part. You just have, do the part where you're like, man, Cena's really being. I can't believe he's doing that, Mr. Hollywood, and then he's right there beating you up, and you could do that. I just think Cena and Cody, this wasn't the only time they're going to get physical before Mania. We got 3 weeks. Relax, don't go crazy. But the internet, they can't, Anyway, so with that said, I thought the promo itself was great. And it's like this: they could have talked for more, and I would not have cared. So let's go into Ladarius's. I think. Hold on. So I want to make sure I get this because this was I've wrote in my notes here. So after that, we had Ladarius's favorite matchup of all time: the New Day versus those baby faces, New Cat Republic. Oh, wait a minute. Check notes. Tyler Bates the baby face, but I didn't know Pete Dunne got a face turn. Did you?
It was news to me. I'm like,
We were watching this, and I
Jesus.
believe you, and I know I was saying the same thing. I'm going, wait a minute. They didn't even do it. It's like, hey, we're in London. Love these guys. Yay! And I'm going, it's like I wanted. This is the time I wish we were into writers. So me and you could look at these people and go, so why are we just turning him face? Well, because they're in London. Well, we're going back to the States, right? Ah! What did you think of the match? And go ahead.
Listen. It's going to be short and simple to the point.
Yeah.
75% of the people in that match are healed.
Yes.
Okay. 70. Let me get close to the microphone. 75%.
So that's
of
3/4
people
of the match, folks.
of that match were heels. And I'm like, and then no. Then you want something even better? Not only did the New Day win, but who took the pin? The heel.
That would be Pete Dunne.
So literally, the heel pinned the heel. Tyler Bate was no. Look, As someone who listen, if even when you play WWE 2K25, and I love GM mode, even that match would not make any sense. It's like that's the only place where it's feasible in the mind, but it doesn't mean you're not gonna get no. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be a 5-star match. I'm telling you, it's. I don't mind. Okay, Tyler Bates back. Yay, hooray! Now, are we going to see Tyler Bate in the States? Oh wait, is it like is it like is it basically like this? Is it like back in the day? Is it like when anytime Paul McCartney and Ringo start? Oh, it's a reunion. You don't see those guys on stage together. Like, is it gonna be a one-time thing or it's like this? Think about it that like it's like the Spice Girls. I love the Spice Girls. It's like this. If they tell you right now, hey, the Spice Girls are gonna come back one time only, and by the way, they did do it one time.
Yep, they did.
So they're like, what's your point? My point is, see, when they just didn't do it just in London. They traveled across England, and it worked because they're popular in England. They didn't come to the States, but they probably would have been successful in the States. But they didn't say, hey, let's try this over in the States. No, because here's the thing: New Catch Republic would not tag team in the United States. Why? Because we're not stupid. We know that one's a face and one's a heel. When Tyler Bate was out, Pete Dunne went from face, he went to heel. And like John, listen, yeah, you know what, John? Nobody needed to win. This should have been a absolute no. This should have been a double disqual because it made no matter who won the match, it wouldn't have made sense. But you know why they gave it to the New Day? Because of that 75%, they're half of the heel. So and then they pin the other heel. It's like
Not just that, but then you think about it. It's like WrestleMania season, so you know the story you can make a story with them.
No, we're not. You see, Dub. No,
I got
we're
you.
not. No, listen. We're not making a story. Look, I didn't mean to cut you off abruptly, but this really angered me. It's like
okay, good.
Because like it made no sense. Listen, they're two great tag teams, but like stop making that. If someone can explain to me why, listen, it was a good match. Don't get me wrong, but from a pure we know what their roles are perspective. Oh, great! Hey, Tyler Bates back, and then Pete Dunne. Oh, did Pete Dunne high five the crowd? No, because he's a heel. Oh, what? Why was Tyler Bate high fiving? Face. Why was Pete Dunne just walking to the ring? Because he's a heel. I'm done.
Yeah. I got you. All right. Look, I saw like they showed a video after Raw, I guess, with them together. But all I'm gonna say is this: you couldn't have done that before the show. Or I get the surprise thing. I get
Yeah.
that. But I would have done something to at least show, look, I'm back, man. You know, let's do this one more time. Let's, fund the UK crowd. And Pete probably like, you know what? Yeah, I miss teaming with you. Let's do this. Let's get back in. Because let's be honest, Pete ain't killing it on the singles scene. So, why not? Um, I'm okay with New Day winning. I don't. To me, it just threw me off because Tyler Bate. Let's be honest, great baby face, really good baby face. So when he's teaming up with Pete Dunne, it's like you can see it, but then you're just going, are they just going to turn eventually? I mean, you see what I'm saying? But yeah, I wish they would have done something. You know what I'm saying? But let's see. It's like Ladarius said. Why did the New Day change their theme? Because they were heels.
Right. Yeah. Exactly, John. None of it made sense. It's like none of it made sense.
We have Carrie. She's saying, "Hey, CDouble. Hey, Ladarius. Hope you all have a great show."
Thank you, Carrie.
And for the love of God, we get We're gonna talk about that.
You know what? Look, all I gotta say is, John, I'm gonna put it like this. You notice how Damian Priest got better when he got away from him? Listen, sometimes staying in a relationship a little too long, I'll put it this way: I'd rather leave something early than leave it late.
That's what Bill Belichick used to say: cut them when they're 1 year early before.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, don't try to squeeze out another. Like, listen, it ain't. Listen, I think I said this on this show a while back. Listen, just like relationships, why are you staying? Because I tell you right now, it ain't for love. I tell you that. It's for a number of reasons why you're staying.
The next match was, I must say, was the IWC's favorite match in the world because it blew up everybody in one's form on one side and then blew up people on the other side. So this was one of those. If you wanted to see everyone lose their minds, this was the perfect match. All right, Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, was getting ready for his match. Told his brother, hey, let me get back here. You stay back here. I need to prove to, Gunther, I want you to see that Gunther's beatable. And we were getting some Apollo Creed vibes. I was kind of feeling it. I mean, there was no, United States of America outfit, but still.
No, all we missed was James living in America.
Oh, I know, man. That would be better. See Jimmy dancing. Jimmy would have done it too. Now, Jimmy would have played that up. Look, Jimmy. Jimmy. He's the class clown of the whole show sometimes. But no, so I thought the match with Gunther actually went better than I thought it would. Gunther, very great worker. Jimmy, actually, I think, is a little bit better than Jay as the working part. Especially lately, he's really been dialed in. He's been really. This has been, I want to say, especially being on his own. This has been his best work lately. Love that he came over and did some work with Jay and everything. What did you think of this match? And then, did you think it was over after the match? Because,
absolutely.
Okay. So,
No.
And then tell me what you thought of then, and then what happened coming back, and then what you thought of.
Well, listen, the match was great. To your point, like I say, Jimmy is a little bit better in the ring than Jay. Not the gap is not like wide.
Yeah.
But it's noticeable. But I'm not going to sit here because listen, people going to say, "Oh, I told you that Jay." Oh, Jay shouldn't no, folks. Jay deserves. I'm not going to get into that whole can of beans again.
Yeah.
The match was great, but here's what was great. So after the match, after Gunther won with CDouble's favorite finisher, the sleeper, and Gunther's like, okay, Gunther he gets his belt, puts it around his waist, and I'm thinking, no, this is not the way this is going to end, because how do I know? The camera work. Notice where the camera was.
Mm-hmm.
It was Jay was still in frame.
Yeah.
So something was going to happen. Now, so Gunther goes, and then Gunther says, and beats the bejesus out of Jay, and that triggers beats out of Jimmy, and that triggers Jay's music to come out, and then Jay kind of rolls out in the ring, and then after a while, Gunther kind of subdues Jay.
Oh, you brought this up too.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that up. And then all of a sudden, after the melee between Gunther and Jay, Jimmy just rolls back in the ring. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, okay, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. I was already ticked about the whole 3/4 the 3/4 match earlier. And so, but let me tell you something. What we saw on Monday was exactly what this needed. It needed juice. Gunther happened to have. I'm not going to ask where he had them zip ties. I don't want to know where he had them at. It's none of my business where he kept them. I don't want to know.
He got it off the security guard. I had to watch it a couple of times. He actually got it from the security
guard. It's
like that was a good shot.
So the security was on the payola. So okay, we got that covered.
Yeah, it was on the one that he power bombed too, I think.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm back. I need those zip ties. Yeah.
Gunther, sit down.
Here in my pocket. I'm like, why would first of all, why would the security guard with zip ties? That's a whole different conversation. But anyway, so he zip ties Jay, and then beats the bejesus out of Jimmy. And listen, we could argue about the blood and all that later, but it needed that sort of vitriol. It needed that kind of juice to kind of amp this thing up. And the reality is, mission accomplished. What we saw on Raw, it goes back to Cena. Cena and Rhodes set the tone. Like how do we continue to bolster these matches, the rivalry? This is an example of that.
Yeah.
It's like how you take it to the level because now we got to put this bad boy in gear because listen, we're less than a month away. Now, I said exactly. We're less than a month away now. We're pushing 3 weeks. We're less than a month.
Yep.
So you got to put something. You got to put in a high gear. And I felt that was the theme of this Raw, especially though in those two instances. But overall, all in all, good stuff. All in all, good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, listen, the whole Jimmy rolling out of the ring. Listen, Jesus, buddy, if you're out of the ring, you're out of the ring. All of a sudden, oh crap, I gotta get back in the ring. What?
I didn't even think about that part until because you said something, and I realized not only was he laid in a different spot of the ring.
Right. He was near the turnbuckle. He was near the corner. And then Rose, and the next thing you know, he's kind of like in the middle of the, and I'm like, oh, I'm still hurt. No, you're not. It was he didn't put it, oh my god. It's like
that would have been like Apollo, going down on the corner, but then for some reason it's on another side of the ring.
Yeah. Like Apollo rolls out and rolls back in. Like, I gotta take this beating. Like, yeah. Except the difference is the white towel was thrown in there, and it was a little too late for my guy Apollo. Somebody should have.
Throw the thing down! Throw the towel!
It's awful.
God.
Awful.
Look, but with all right, hold on. I'm gonna catch up on
Yeah,
John's
go ahead.
comments here. So he says, "Sorry, I'm sorry, but the IWC is a joke. JD thinks he's the best of them. All don't get me wrong. JD's pretty good what he does, but the whole what I'm saying, John, is this. So I saw after that first part where he gets beat up, Jay runs Gunther off, and I saw where people were losing their minds, going, "That's it, that's it. You got to do more. You got to do more." And I'm watching because I don't have the commercials, so I'm watching the whole thing. They're just checking on Jay, and I'm noticing. I'm like, they are taking their time. So that's the only thing that made me go, something's going to happen. All right, and then I love this, John. You're on a point here. Ladarius said it best too. You know, I'm glad we got the blood. We hadn't had blood in WWE in a long time. Like John Moxley played every other week, and that's basically something that I've been saying. You don't have to have blood for blood. Doesn't need to be triggered just because you're in a stupid match. Okay, but if it's a storyline and you're trying to invest emotion and getting like the blood pour, what have we said during the countdown of this? We were making fun of Gunther saying 10 weeks of hell. And I'm going, what, you're going to snuggle me to death with your sleeper? Nah, homeboy was covered in Jay's blood. Let's get let that image hit you. They didn't just bleed him. I mean, first of all, Jay, you definitely got colored. But my God, you hit something. You might want to get checked on that one. But my God, then the sleeper, everything, I was just, and what I love, the zip tie, when you see where he gets it from, you understand, but the zip tie, because you can't do the handcuffs, I guess. But what I'm saying is you saw him trying to reach for his brother, and I'm going, this is what was needed. Now we can get that fuel. Now, Now, pet peeve. Cody and Cena talk. You know, they're throwing shots. I'm talking, this is like OK Corral, you know, standoff with the 6-shooters, people shooting off. And you got Pat McAfee going, oh, that was hard. Oh! I wish someone would have went up to him, took his headset off, and just tell Triple H, Hunter, mute this motherfucker's mic till I'm done. Because that was annoying. So during this spot, when Jay comes out, Jay's coming in to fight. You see Pat standing on the damn table, yeeting, and I'm like, I wish Gunther would have laid out Jay for a moment and just dropped Pat from the desk. Because that's stupid. That's when you know someone's all about themselves. I know people love Pat McAfee. I don't. He's ridiculous. I've never seen someone that's more committed about getting himself over more than the talent. And as a commentator, it pisses me off. I'll go into more detail later, but that was another thing I saw, and I'm like going, are you yeet? I had to watch that over to double check that he really was just hey, look at me, guys. It's like, no, this is different. So now I need Gunther to make an example out of Pat. Because here's why. That's what you should do. Gunther ain't playing around. One thing I heard JD said, and I actually agree with him on. Gunther needs to be pissed that he's not the main event. He's the world heavyweight champ, and he's going against main event Jey Uso. But he's not in the main event. Why is that? Because of this goof, Jey Uso. Because this idiot here, Pat McAfee, wants to stand on his stupid announce table and do the stupid yeet thing. He needs to go full throttle. And Gunther could do it. And look, Gunther has done where he gave a look to McAfee, and McAfee sat down like a little kid that got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. It needs to happen. If he wants to be in wrestling, he needs to start paying some dues. Getting sick and tired of him. So anyway, sorry about that. That really bothered me. If we're gonna get Bayley beating Lyra, they better leave Bayley versus John. Give me a little bit of time. I promise we're gonna make sense of that one. And I'm hoping anyway, because it's been weird. I thought we would see Roxanne by now, but Pat overdoes it on the mic. I don't know. I don't mind him yeeting, but he needs to stop over. Yeah. And look, I just thought it was so stupid. You saw Jay run in the ring, ready to fight, and I'm like, oh man, this is good. And then I'm looking, I see this idiot yeeting, and I'm like, what the? It's not even a fan. It was him. It's almost like the fans were looking at, what the hell are you doing? I gotta get my stuff in. So sorry. I know people. It's like this. There's sometimes I go, I'm waiting to hear someone say something to me about that. But anyway, all right. Of course, they have to show off. So after we almost murdered poor Jimmy, we had to show that we had celebrities in the building. You gotta love it how people, you know, just go, oh man, that was totally awful. Oh, look at the celebrity right there. He did that movie on Netflix. All right. So we had in a, you know, you just said WWE 2K, right? How many times have you had like matches where they just randomize you in a tag team match and it's like Dom and Penta or Dom and Finn versus, I don't know, Braun and Penta?
Listen, I used the randomizer once or twice on GM mode. I said, you know what? I think I'll book it.
You know, you do it and then you go, oh, I could do better.
Yeah, and I'm like, respectfully, yeah,
I
respectfully.
promise you, what we should do is I'll get the car. When I get the game, I'll get like the special thing, so we could play online and we could do GM mode together and just see how we could do. Because I would love, I've never had anyone to actually do GM with. I've never done it by myself, so I've always wanted.
I love doing and this year's GM mode. It's great. So
now that I have a friend now, I can actually. It'd be great to actually do that because every time everyone that I knew, they didn't have the game or they didn't, have time, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, Penta versus with Braun, and then they had the Judgment Day, and it's weird. It's Judgment Day, but it's Finn and Dom, and I'm still kind of like, hmm. What did you think of the match? And what are we supposed to think? Because I know they had a talk about what's going on with the tag team or with the Intercontinental title, but what is your thought about it?
Look, I don't know what was going on with tag team matches in London. I have no idea what's going on. It's like I understand, Finn and Dom. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. But Penta and it feels like I'm saying the same thing. 75% of this match were heel. It was no different than the New Day versus Bate versus New Catcher. It was literally the only difference were just the people. The roles were literally like there was one, and then the only difference is, well, at least the face took the pin. That's it. Literally the only difference.
Yeah.
The only difference is that this match led to something of substance.
Mm-hmm.
This is that, especially backstage, we could be getting Braun versus Penta. Potentially could be a triple threat or fatal four way. Now I saw it in the New Day War Raiders. Okay. Just like they left the pub and their motorcycles parked and just came in. Oh, I guess we'll come in and do this. And look, it looked real cool. Like I'm not knocking them. It looked real cool. But here's the thing. It's just the way I understand. Like the tag team matches on this show, those two, 75% of the people were heels. If people are like, oh, should it be 50? You would think. You would think, right? Like, have a heel team versus the face team? No. Hey, New Day, heel team. The Judgment Day, heel team. But the other side, Penta, you're going to team with Braun Breaker. And then, hey, let's bring back New Catch Republic. I'm like, you do. Listen, it's just like Oasis, okay? This is why you don't. Okay, this is hey, why isn't Oasis before? It's gonna be for the money because Liam and Noel Gallagher don't like each other.
No.
They don't. So hey, if you want to hear Champagne Supernova, you better have the record because you're not gonna hear it live on stage.
Pull it up on YouTube. Just play it.
I'm dead, you want to hear that song? You better go on YouTube. You better have Spotify. You better have Apple Music. And people go, what's your point? The point is this. Is that there was no business we had to see Penta and Braun on the same team. Everybody knew. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Like me too, Gary. Listen, you know what? I love Oasis, but Oasis doesn't love themselves. Like, listen, I would not mind. Listen, do I want to hear Champagne Super? Look, listen, people understand. They had more hits than Wonderwall. Okay, they're not a one-hit wonder. Oh, they're on tour together now. They're in separate dressing rooms.
Wow.
I can
funny.
I remember reading somewhere last year they were talking about. Listen, it's for the money. Is it for the music? It's for the money. All right. Just like when we saw them two tag teams, that was for the money. Ain't no, that was for the money. Hey, did the check clear? Great. Because listen, I'm telling you right now, just like you hear Oasis, when they play Champagne Supernova, when they get that stage, they're going in different directions. Okay. It was literally like Kobe and Shaq back in the day. On the court, they were great. Off the court, two different directions. But you know what? It was about the success that we saw. And it circles back to this. When you're working with somebody, don't say you had to like them. Because Penta and Braun made no sense. New Catch Republic vaguely made sense, except for that small, tiny detail that Pete Dunne's a heel. It's like, look, I didn't mean to go on this rant. It's either I pull a rant. I pull a rant here. Now listen, Thursday show, I'm not gonna. There'll be no rant. So enjoy this while you can.
Oh, look, there should be a rant after hearing Raheem and Arthur, but we'll talk about that Thursday.
Yeah, but the thing is, and to put a button on it, that's what. Listen, Penta and Braun made no sense. You could, I understand because you're trying to build, intercut, but the thing is, listen, Braun should have said, "I'm putting Penta. Why couldn't Finn eat the pin?" See, here's the thing. You know what? Here's the thing, John, and that's a great point. But here's the thing. I'm gonna circle back to something I said on this show, and I'm sorry for taking up a lot of time. I'm gonna say this. We talked about this. When was the last time Finn Balor won a singles match? Anytime he takes a pin, anytime he pins somebody in the tag match, I go, well, hey, at least he was on the winning side of this, because it's like, these, like I said, these tag teams just made no sense to me. Like I would have rather have seen the women's tag team match, because that to me would have made. I would have rather you could have had Maxine and Natalia versus Ivy Nile and here's the equivalent. This would have been here's the equivalent of what we saw on here's the women's side. Look at this. We have Lyra and Ivy Nile versus Maxine and Natalia. The difference is 75% of this match are faces. It's opposite. Like, you know what?
Hunter knew it was the day before April Fool's, so maybe that's the other thing. Maybe. I don't know.
Listen, I don't know what was in that water in London. I don't know who was booking these things. It felt like Hunter was. It felt like Hunter was back at home in Connecticut, and he just basically said, "Hey, I'll just run the show from here."
Well, look, I will say this about Penta and Braun. I can understand because last week they were in the match, so kind of common enemy, common foe. You've seen that happen before. That that makes a little more sense than putting a new Catch Republic together, where one guy has been a heel pretty much as recent as maybe last week, and so I'm just saying that to me, I'm with you. Look, it's messed up. I agree. Braun gets away with being a tweener. That's one thing I can say.
I'll agree.
He can be heel, he can be face.
Yeah, just like Oasis.
Yeah.
Listen, it's for the record. It's for the money. They don't like each other.
Yeah. And by the way, so and look, when Finn won, I said, okay. It's like Liv told. Okay, we'll talk about it. Trust me, we're going to talk about that because that was actually a real good spot.
I mean, when you look at Finn's record over the last, you're like, listen, I see more. The numbers bigger than the L column than the W column. So
AJ Styles was tired of waiting for Logan Paul. So Logan Paul, he called out Logan Paul. Now, here's the thing. They said stuff, and honestly, I could care less. AJ, I love. All right, they're going to do a WrestleMania match. Fine. Best part about this whole thing was the finish where he does that pulverizer. The one he hit this time looked clean. So give AJ some credit for doing all that work for Logan Paul to do it too. But that pulverizer, that was pretty cool. What did you think about Logan Paul and AJ?
Listen, I just wanted somebody to throw him into that prime drink. Somebody should have did it. Like,
That's got to happen eventually. That needs
listen,
to happen.
I keep seeing that stuff out there. Like, ain't nobody trying to grab it. Because even like, man, I'm not touching that. When you go to your store, listen, they try to offer, hey, oh, you get this with the prime. I'm like, no, I don't want the prime. Just give me this. But
Why are you
listen,
trying to poison me?
I'm like, listen, that Gatorade Powerade, yeah, I'll take that. Prime has no business in that era. But anyway.
All right. Later in the show, I'm trying
Oh wait, I
to
wasn't.
stay away
Oh,
from the main event.
oh,
Huh?
I guess I was done. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh no, I'm done. I'm done. No,
I didn't mean to do that. I promise.
no.
Okay.
Some
But no,
people
I did not.
go and say, "Where were you when CDouble cut me off?" And you will find me sitting at home
I'm wrong. Okay.
with my
Please
champagne
tell us.
supernova in the sky. You can't. I'm not trying to sing the whole thing because I want the thing to get copyrighted.
Yeah. All right. Hey, could you please tell me what you thought? My bad. I do.
I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm just going to just keep thinking champion. No, now I got champagne supernova stuck in my head now. So,
all right. Well, look, I'm not. Look, I'm sorry. I just when I see Logan Paul, it's like this. He's gonna give us a good match, but I don't see substance with him. It's one of those. It's just gonna be a highlight match where he'll do some really cool things. He's still a douche. I love AJ Styles, so if it means I get AJ on at WrestleMania, cool. But what would you think?
I'm not mad at the match, but listen, Logan Paul is playing to the fact that he had the nerve. He called a whole city poor. I'm like, you can't do that. Like,
I know that was crazy.
like, oh, it's poor. Says the man who's from San Juan, Puerto Rico by way of Cleveland, Ohio. Like, well, you guys are poor. You're poor. I'm like, yeah. Listen, you know who had money in there? Who I recognized in the crowd? Louis Capaldi had money. See, here I want to tell this story.
Yeah, go
Off camera, all the off camera stuff on camera. Now it was myself, C-Dub, and then the amazing Carrie. And you start showing the people in the crowd.
Yep.
And I'm like, hey, that's Louis Capaldi. Now I want you to guess, out of the three of us, how many knew who Louis Capaldi was and who didn't? I'll give you a clue. I was the only one. And listen, I took a lot of L's in that group chat Monday. A lot of L's. I mean, but anyway, so Louis Capaldi had money. Louis Capaldi's not poor. He's a Grammy nominated singer songwriter. He's got dinero. I don't know how the pound translates over to actually the euro, because they're in the euro to the dollar. So I used to know stuff like that, but I'm too much of a nerd. I'm not trying to add to my nerd pile. So
basically, you're saying that Logan Paul miscast Mr. Paul.
yeah, because listen, Louis Capaldi got money. Louis Capaldi said, "You stay out of my pockets," and he's not wrong. Listen. The Spice Girls, they live in London. They got more money than you, pal. Mm-hmm. How do I know? That's none of your business. How I know. But the point is, calling people poor. You basically said everybody was Oliver Twist. That's what you basically did. Where's the be a star anti-bullying stuff? You're poor. You're poor. Man, they got money. You see how much them tickets are? They got money.
Oh man, Logan Paul, if you think rebuttal, AJ no Logan. Yeah, like I said, I was kind of checked out at that because I just it's like this: make the match of Mania. I get it, do it. If I don't have to see Logan Paul, I'm happy. It is what it is. But It would probably be a good match. What did you think? All right, so Finn Balor is all jacked up. He's all excited. So he's going to talk to Pierce about that Intercontinental title since he pinned Penta. Please. Wink, wink. We know the spear. We know all the other stuff they did. But either way, what do you think about Liv playing the Yoko role by telling Dom that he needs to insert himself involved? What do you think?
Listen. Liv can be Yoko anytime. Listen, because listen, what she was doing, what she did, like show me the lie. Like at some point, like listen, the Beatles broke up. People are like, oh, it's terrible. No, it was. And by the way, CM Punk and not a fan of the Beatles. Not a fan of the Beatles. I'm not gonna get into that. I love Christopher Marcavius Punk, so I won't get into. And that's his real name, by the way.
Remember, he's got Chaperone on his playlist too.
Hey, Chaperone is fantastic.
I might have to listen to Chaperone when I heard.
You haven't wait. Oh wait. Oh, once again.
Well, I never heard him. I didn't know.
No, I'm just taking notes.
No, but what?
I'm just taking notes. I'm taking see.
What,
if Carrie, if you're still in the chat, have you heard of Chaperone? Because this answer is the tiebreaker. Because I swear, I have a feeling where it's gonna go, but I always ask. I do my due diligence.
You say yes.
So anywho, but back to the great stuff, especially that she got. Oh, it's fantastic. But anyway, enough about me listening to music a lot. You know, maybe questioning when I can listen.
Like I said, I found her. What was it? Was because when I was flipping through the reels I do, it had CM Punk talking to Sheamus going, yeah, I listen to Chaperone. CM Punk listens to Chaperone. And then they played some of her song, and I'm going, oh, that's, oh, okay. Not mad. I was uneducated.
No, listen, it's Louis Capaldi all over again. No,
I apologize.
But anyway, going back to answer your question.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, listen, this could be a situation where, listen, I've always said, we saw how leaving the Judgment Day benefited Damian Priest. This could benefit Finn Balor as well. Because the thing is, I feel that I'm not saying Judgment Day is on their last leg. I just feel that to me, what's going to happen to, like, so are we going to get Liv? Because to me, I feel like that was the plan. This Liv being in charge of the Judgment Day, it feels like it's kind of the whole plan the minute she joined. And this is how you do it. Because she got with Dom. Dom has power. And if, like, listen, hey, that Finn Balor, he's trying to hold you back. You gotta do something. Like, and then call a loser. Listen, Liv knows numbers, unlike that Jay and Jimmy Uso. Oh yeah, you beat you. I'm like, wait, what? No. like what Rick and Morty alternative universe have you been watching? Just to say that Gunther has taken L's too. I'm like, you know what? Forget it.
He's so messed up he couldn't get the numbers right.
Oh, you're 0 you're 3, and I'm like, wait, whoa. Wait.
He said that, and I was looking at you, I was like, did he just say he ran up my sport? I remember Gunther's beating him all the time.
It's like, but morals of stories of morals. But to put a button on this, it's like this. I think we do get a triple threat match. I think we get Penta, Braun versus, but I also feel that Dom could get squeezed himself in there as well. I have a suspicion because it seems like they transition away from Kaiser and then Sheamus, that whole thing for now. And I think to have that fatal 4-way, I think could make a whole lot of sense. And I think because I think that this particularly could lead to Finn leaving, because people are like, oh, it should be Finn versus Dom. I'm like, no. If you put them in this match, we're in a situation where everyone, And if you, I think either Finn or Dom wins the IC belt,
Yes. Okay. All right.
and then we got something,
Yeah.
and then that's how you kind of spin it. Me personally, I just want Finn to get a W in a singles. Like Jesus, it's like who did he anger? Because in terms of like one on one, this man like he's taking L's. I'm like, listen, Damian Priest, he left. He's in a feud with Drew McIntyre. It's like Finn. Like if I told you Finn Balor was a former world champion, people would not believe me based on the way he's been booked. That's all. I'm not saying you book him to be like a Roman Reigns type of guy. All I'm saying is book this man with some respect.
Yeah.
Because this man's taking L's in singles. He took L's to Damian Priest over and over. It wasn't like when Seth was taking L's to Cody. The difference is Seth could absorb them, those L's. Like Finn really, the more Finn lost, you're more like you can only lose so much. So I'm hoping we get that fatal 4-way, and I'm hoping Finn wins it. Back to
All
you,
right.
Mr.
Yeah. Now I'm going to tell you, I want it to be Dom, and wait, where did you go? Shit, where'd you go? Uh-oh. Hopefully he gets back. He's got the link, so come back. All right. Dominic needs to be in this match, and this is why I say so. That was weird, man. I looked up and he was gone. So copy. We're gonna paste. Come back, please. All right. So with that being said, I will talk about the matchup that really, if we get Dom and Finn and Penta and Braun, I would be okay with it. You don't pin Braun. Braun's good. You would have Penta. Either Penta wins it or, man, I was nervous. I was like, where did you go?
I don't know. I hit a. I guess I said Oasis did it. That's what happened.
They were watching. You gotta be careful. They may be wanting the number set.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's book Oasis versus Penta and Braun. Was that word?
No, I was gonna say New Catch Republic. That would get the crowd into it,
That's even worse.
But yeah, well, I don't know, man. New Day be trying to get people cell phones, so you don't want to have them do it.
Is that legal? Right. We're in the UK.
I know, that was something that I was like, why are you trying to get the little? Stop, Woods. It's not like that's a Rhea. So anyway, but yeah, or that's Greg Maddox, or whatever that guy's name was.
Greg Maddox. You mean Hall of Fame pitcher Greg Maddox? Yeah, man.
Sorry, Greg Maddox from the Chicago Cubs.
Hey, Greg, if you're listening, you're a Hall of Fame pitcher, one of the most efficient pitchers in baseball history.
One of the best pitchers ever.
Listen, for the record, I knew who you were, and I'm just like
he could have been. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, Atlanta. Yeah, it all ties together. Yeah.
Because that's really not. Anyway. So if anything, that just shows you're a good teammate. So.
Hi, Chipper Jones. If you're watching, no.
Okay, so. We got. But I would not mind that match, Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania, because I think Dom winning the Intercontinental title would actually surprise some people. I think it would. I kind of would love to see that. Because think of all the stuff he's done in the business. I mean, he's really. It would be something. That's all I'm saying. And I swear, if I keep seeing these gifts of Ryback signing with the WWE, and then I'm seeing April Fools, I'm like, you stop. Nobody wants Ryback in anywhere. Him and Del Rio. So look at that. There he's frozen on
Hashtag who asked for this?
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about it. And I think you done. Okay, you froze, but I'll get you. I'm still throwing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just you froze.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that's how I look.
You know
That's
what
how I
though?
look.
Hold on. But the face you froze on is hilarious because it's the face of you really telling me to talk about this.
Yeah.
All right, triple threat match. What did you think of the match? And whatever you want to talk about on that one.
Oh, the triple threat between
Yeah,
okay.
or not triple threat. The Bianca is the referee. Rhea versus Io.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
The
listen, I
reason
got
I
your
said
back. Listen,
threat was because of
listen,
the announcement. Made it sound like
listen. Ignore the look on my face. I get it. That I'm not. We're not judging. Look, I usually don't complain about announcers during matches. I don't because I guess I don't not say don't listen to it. I just focus on the match. But it was very hard not to listen to the commentary. It was very hard for me to kind of go like, oh man. And that's perfect.
Yeah. Sorry.
And it was very hard to ignore the commentary because it's like this. I felt from the beginning that this match was gonna kind of be a squash or a wash, but I wanted to see how it was gonna be done. Because I'm not gonna be like on AEW where they said the best thing I learned about wrestling that you guys know who's gonna win before. I'm not gonna go that route. I'm not gonna go that route.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that you just simply don't say on national television, and that's literally one of them. Especially you're in a wrestling, yeah, that's not good. But anyway, she did a great job. Movies, listen, I still gotta check out the movie. I know it's great. But back to the point. The announcing here was very distracting.
Oh.
And like I said, I usually don't focus on it, but it's like this. And I have an idea, just a theory of why they're doing it. It's simply because I think they're trying to make Bianca. They tried to make Bianca look like the victim, or like or they tried to portray her as, she's trying to do her job, but Rhea this, and then the kick that we saw, and then
Yeah, they were making Rhea the bad one.
and I'm like, I understand what like the logic here, but it's like all intents and purposes, like Bianca didn't do a terrible job as a ref. I'll go on record and saying it.
Nope.
Could have been better, but she didn't do terrible. Like I'm not gonna be the internet and be like, oh, no, she did great. But the thing is this: after all that jazz and what we saw, the fact of the matter is, I don't see a justification how you can leave Rhea Ripley off. Now, I understand that you could leave her off, but the reality is this: her not on the card. When you look at the women's division, and you're like, when you're talking about women, especially, forget just Raw, the brand of Raw. You can look at the roster, the main roster. Rhea Ripley's in the top, like I'd argue, top 5, top 3 of record. On in terms of the women's division, having her not on your card is the equivalent of not having Michael Jordan on the court during Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Amen.
Could you do it? Sure. You could. I don't tell people what to do. You could. But here's the thing. How do you justify it? Because someone's got to answer the question, hey, why isn't Rhea Ripley on the card? I had the same question a couple WrestleManias ago when it came to Bayley. Like, why isn't Bayley on the card? Like, you can find... See, the thing is, C-Dub, you could get away with this when it was just one night.
Yeah.
You could get away with this.
Yeah.
When it was one night of WrestleMania, I get it. Because you don't want a 4-hour show or a 6,
Yeah.
You split it.
You're right.
You split it out over 2 days. there's not an excuse in the world to justify not having your big star in a match. Because the only way you don't do that is if Rhea Ripley is hurt. And from all that I can see, she doesn't look hurt.
Oh, she don't.
But like, how do you justify? Yeah, stop. Yeah, that's the look. See that look right there? That's the way I'm looking at you right now.
Sorry. Don't judge.
Too late. My face says otherwise.
April is Rhea Ripley.
And I'll just put a wrap on it by just saying this. I think this match, Bianca and Io, I believe to a certain degree that it's going to somehow tie into Bianca and the whole Naomi and Jade Cargill thing. Because see, when the crowd is booing Bianca and the announcers are treating her like she's like the face, and it's not a great look. It doesn't look great. But my greater concern is that, how can I phrase it? The greater concern is it's like the crowds are booing her because they believe she's a heel, and she's done heelish things, and to me the bigger gauge is the crowd. It's like we could perceive. It's like this. I made the same case when it came to Charlotte and Tiffany. It's like this. Let Charlotte be the heel, because the crowd certainly feels that she's the heel in all of this.
Yep.
And they feel Tiffany's the face.
Yeah.
And in this between, in between, like, Io's the face, and they feel Rhea's the face, Bianca tweener / heel.
Yeah.
Like, something, if it was racial, I'd understand. Like, you can spot that out a mile. You can spot that out on, wherever you are. But my point, my whole thing is this. How do you make a case for Rhea not to be on this card? Because that to me is the greater concern out of all of this. Is that we're really going into less than a month away from WrestleMania.
Yep.
And Rhea Ripley is not on the card, and there's 2 nights of WrestleMania. And John's saying, I have an idea, put Rhea in a tag team with Paige and call them the Twitch. See, my only thing with this is that who would you have them, like, would you have them face Liv and Raquel?
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it, but
can I just
my
say
only
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my only concern would be, how do you make it make sense? Because unless Paige is coming back next week, because we're really, it's the pushing for time.
Yeah.
It's the pushing for time. I'm like John. I like the idea. It's like, how do you pull it off? Because like I said, I just can't justify you not having Rhea Ripley on Wrestle. Like, and this one is 2 nights. Like, here's the thing. What if they basically said, oh, we couldn't put Seth or Roman, or whether it just would have been Seth versus Roman, and you leave off CM Punk? Would have been CM Punk versus Roman, and you leave off Seth? Would have been Seth versus CM Punk, and you leave off Roman? Like, how do you just like
that we almost had something last year.
Yeah.
Because if Brock got his way, Cody wasn't going to wrestle at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And
they
it's like
plans for Cody.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how you justify not having your big stars on 2 nights of WrestleMania. Listen, I'm not in charge of booking. I'm not trying to question Triple H, because like I said, WrestleMania 40 was one of the best WrestleManias we've seen in a while, and that we could all agree on was great. But there's some WrestleManias we don't talk about on this show, and there's a reason why we don't talk about them.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Let's talk about WrestleMania 8. Yeah, we'll talk about Rock and Austin. Yeah, we'll talk about that one, but not the other. But anyway, the point is, but like I say, but to avoid something like Randy Orton, the point is this. I just want to see what they do at Rhea, simply because I'll keep saying it. I can't justify a reason to leave her off the card.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there he is. Here, read that by Craig.
Oh,
I
yes,
like
yes.
that.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Craig Ruth, and I am the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed Wrestle Talk champion, Ladarius Brown. Did I do that right?
Yeah, Craig, I love it. That's listen. That might be listen. That's not show up every show. Just put that.
Yeah.
And just
You know
show
what?
up.
Guess what? We're giving that one the star treatment on that one. That's
You could do that because, like I say, I just don't know how you. I just don't know how you justify leaving her off the card.
Yeah.
Because if that's the route we're going, it's terrible. I'm hoping we'll get more clarity this coming up Monday because, like, you could do that. Like, John, I wouldn't be upset at that because we don't know who Lyra's going to face.
All right.
Only thing we know is that she's going to face Bayley. That's high praise from my
yes.
That's high praise from my advocate there.
Throw up the ones for the we acknowledge the Ladarius.
Yeah. So when me and Greg go out to dinner, we'll talk about your inclusion into the plans.
Awesome. I appreciate.
We won't say where we eat dinner at because I want people surrounding us, and
no,
then
I understand.
Yeah. So
I know it's on a need to know basis, sir.
Yep.
All right. So here's my thought. All right, real quick. Leaving Rhea off this is a bad look because you already don't have one of the women that carried the Raw storyline, not even on the show, and that's Liv Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
What about Nia Jax? She carried the belt for a while. Why is she not involved in any of the other matches? So in what you're saying, my thing is this: Rhea has to be involved. And the reason I say that, and I want people to understand what I'm saying. If I was writing this story, first of all, I would have never done what we saw last night. I would have done it where basically Bianca just went crazy and took out Rhea and Io by herself and said this match is a no contest. Basically screwing them both. Don't care. And then walk out. And look at Adam Pearce, say, you figure it out. I don't care. I'm going to Mania. And Pearce has already made the mess, so he's got two women that hate him now, which probably is his normal routine anyway. But my thing is, I would do the triple threat. You put Io, you put Rhea, and you put Bianca in the match. Rhea loses. All right? Either she gets pinned or Io gets pinned. But the way I do it is I'm linking in that Jade and Naomi. Basically, this has been the whole time they've plotted this whole thing out. So Bianca could be the champ. Didn't care about anybody else. It was about Bianca. And Naomi's going to be like, I'm going to be this, pitbull. She'll end up having some people with her. Okay? But what you do is now you have Rhea in a chase mode after Bianca. And you can end it at SummerSlam. You could go at Mania. Either way. But then they can main event WrestleMania. That's how I would do this. But after what I watched this past Monday night, I don't give two damns. Because I had to hear Pat McAfee yelling to try to sound like Bianca was the babyface. And Michael Cole was being, hey, leave my son. He's a college prep boy. I gotta take care of him. I baby him. I have to nurse him. When Wade Barrett's the only one making sense. Wade Barrett was saying, wasn't it Bianca that attacked Rhea? Well, she was pushed by Rhea, but she attacked. Why was it not disqualification? I gotta ask severe questions about how Adam Pearce is running the show. Yes, thank Craig. You know what? Craig's the wise man. He's getting all his comments started tonight. God, McAfee is the worst by the week. Yes, I couldn't handle him. Him and Michael Cole, they both ruined that match. They checked me out of it. Because look, when the fans are booing Bianca and you're sounding like an idiot, which is, hey guys, don't get mad at Bianca. Bianca's great. She knows she worked on that outfit by herself. Bro, Bianca's done all her outfits. That's nothing new. Why are, and I'm going to say it, all these idiots online saying, oh, WWE's racist. They're so racist. These countries are racist to Bianca. I love how wrestling fans can be smart but stupid at the same time. I really can. I mean, it just drives me nuts. She has been shown, Ladarius said it too, she's showing heel tendencies. And by the way, please remember, I said the person that needs to walk out with the title should be Bianca. What I'm saying, though, you need to go ahead and put Rhea and Io in this match. Io, remember the week before, Io said, give me both of them. I want to fight both of them. What happened? It was Bianca going, no, it doesn't count. No, I won. I deserve my match. And it's like, and the fact that Adam Pearce looked like an idiot by booking a match and then putting her as the referee. I love that Wade Barrett kept crapping on that decision. And then had to look at these two chuckle fucks and went, what the hell are y'all talking about? I can't wait to come back on Friday night and sit next to Joe Testator. And then Pat's trying to be all nice. Oh, yeah, Joe's so great. Oh, shut the hell up. That's like everything I didn't like about Pat, he showed that night. He's only about himself, and he's making the show. He needs to get his crap in more than anyone else. And he's on commentary. That's bull crap. And the fact that him and Michael Cole are going to host the Hall of Fame is an insult to wrestling fans. I'm sorry. I would have given that to Corey Graves. Sorry. But at least I can say, McAfee has made Cole worse somehow. It's baffling. Thank you. He's my son. He's my baby boy. We're homies. We are BFFs. Cole, you're losing your legacy by literally kissing this jackass's butt. Oh, like I said, it really bothered me because it started with the Cena Cody where he's saying stuff during the promo. I've already said, when you're hearing a promo between John Cena, Cody Rhodes, you can tell this is going to get good and spicy. You have this idiot going, oh, I can't believe he said that. It's like, shut up. And then him yeeting as Jey Uso is watching his brother get bloodied in front of him. It's like, God, you are the dumbest announcer I've ever. This is why I could care less when I saw him come in. When he was in NXT, I dealt with it. So I was like, they're not gonna put him over Corey. Corey knows his crap. Corey is good. And then they moved Corey out and put McAfee. And I'm going, oh, Jesus. And Michael Cole, I'm losing a lot of respect. He got a lot through the year of no Vince and then WrestleMania 39, really great. But ever since Pat came back, he has been over the top and he's been stupid to the point that I rather just hear Joe Testator and Wade Barrett. They're to me, they're the better announce team next to Vic Joseph, Booker, and Corey. I can't stand Raw. Thanks, Triple H. Hope you can fix it. Anyone still here? I know. I just saw that picture and I keep cracking up because I'm saying it. And I'm trying not to laugh.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Hold on. It's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm like, yeah, I know. You got that look on me. All right. So SmackDown, we don't have to go over the whole show on SmackDown.
Yeah.
What did you think though of the Randy Orton talking with Cody? Do you feel like we're gonna end up seeing Randy Orton taking out Cody, or is this just gonna be maybe down the road? And if we get something, it's gonna probably be maybe with somebody else than Randy. What do you think?
A part of me feels that we're gonna get Cody versus Randy because we gotta understand, Randy's not that far behind too when it comes to championship reigns as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a lot of stake in the game. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get that sort of build post WrestleMania. It's just a matter of like, do we get heel Randy or do we get heel Cody?
And remember, Backlash is going to be on St. Louis, by the way.
Yeah, in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see a situation where we could possibly get that and get that build post WrestleMania towards that. So it's one of those things where I hope we get it because I love their back and forth. There's a mutual respect between both of them,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is which plays in very, very well into the storyline, the potential storyline that we could get. So like I say, I'm listen. I think that's probably Cody's next feud post whatever happens that with post WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, look, whatever happens, like if it's Cena and Cody or Cena and Randy, I'm all in. I want to see it. If it's I love that. But yeah, I just think when I see Orton and Cody, it's more of a how proud he is dad moment with Cody, and how it really, he really does when there's an interview where he interviewed where Cody interviewed Randy, and Randy talked about him going away and where building the company. He goes, "You built a competitor." He says, "Let's take balls," and then it took even bigger balls to come back here. He says, "And brother, I just love you. I'm so glad you're back. That's God." And he even said, "I want to destroy them because I just can't believe they didn't take advantage of having you there." And I'm going, that's really smart, guys. Street Profits went, look, I like Street Profits. Here's the problem. I hate this music. Played the music when they came out, when they won the belts. You hear that pop. The fans were behind it. Ever since they have came out to the Death Rebel music, holy crap! It's not just Selena Vega. You've done it now to the Profits. What did you think of the match? But I thought the match was good. But that was one thing that really blew me away.
Yeah, I didn't really have a problem with the match at all. I like I said, I always expect them to always have a great match. So it doesn't, I'm not saying it. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where like they're on a list of people, of competitors or superstars where I go, okay, if they're or tag teams or single whatever. Like when they're in the ring, I'm like, okay, it's watchable, and you're going to get entertained. So listen, it was a very, very good match. Very, very entertaining, I should say. Yeah.
All right, we got the Secret Harvest. Let me tell you something. To all these people that are mad about the U.S. title picture. Now, first, I'm going to say this real quick. The women's Intercontinental title match, there's going to be Bayley versus Lyra. My quick pick on that is I'm going to say Lyra wins, but I'm going to say Roxanne comes in, maybe Liv, or something's got to happen where we maybe invest in a multi-women match, because I think that would be fine, or do a 6-woman tag match where they bring in Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I mean, it couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah. Like I say, I think Roxanne comes back this week. I think if we're going to do Bailey versus Roxanne, she has to come back this week.
Yeah.
And kind of screw Bailey out of the match in some capacity.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Intercontinental title match decided with those women. So,
Yeah.
with
Like I
Bailey,
say,
Roxanne, Lyra, all that.
yeah. Like I said, it would not be the worst thing in the world. I think if anything, it gives us if Becky Lynch is not coming back, that you can't get no worse than that option as well.
Yeah.
Because it's still the credibility factor. It's everything kind of still goes the same way.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk about the Secret Harvest. Miss Fire and Miss yes, the Secret Harvest. They went against the Dancing Women, the Caden Carter and Katana Chance. Piper Niven looking awesome as always, and Alba Faya. What did we think about this match, man?
Like first of all, this her Secret her service. Listen, like I just like Alba Fire frisking the ref. I'm like, it's the character work to me that makes it great, and also they're very good in the ring. There's there's chemistry in the tag team because we got to remember that Alba, Piper, and Chelsea, they work maybe in other, I'll say other promotions. I won't say the name. I want people, but
I don't know the name, but yeah, I do know what you're talking about. They were a faction.
Yeah, so they were. So the chemistry comes through the screen, clear, and it just I just can't say enough how much I love it because it's very hard to have that chemistry, especially when you're a faction, and they already have it kind of pre-built in, just like how Chelsea and Piper already had like that kind of had that built-in chemistry as a tag team, and then now you expand it with somebody who's familiar with both of them in Alba Fire. It makes great, and the match was great. I like that. They came out, they fought in their outfits, they didn't fight in their gear. It's I absolutely like it. The match was great, and it's great to see Kaden Carter, Katana Chan. It's great to see them back. Listen, this women's tag team division is going to get better because that to me lets me know like, oh, we have some contenders down the road because that was a concern. And you're like, well, who's potentially Liv and Raquel, or how's the women's tag team division going to look? I think we're getting a kind of an idea of that. So that was also kind of cool to watch as well, because like a low key kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. And look, I loved it. I like, and look, I like Selena being involved in this. I mean, it's just like I said, the music is really good.
Yeah.
But honestly, I love what Chelsea's doing. If she keeps going, I don't mind her being the champ. I really don't. It's one of those when you come up with something and you have something organically over, keep going. I'm not going to argue over it. I'm going to briefly, go over it. So Strowman wins by a DQ because Fatu whoops his butt and really cleans house. So they're going to have a last man standing match this Friday against LA Knight for the U.S. title. Look, I don't want Braun Strowman near the belt. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know what we're getting to with WrestleMania. Maybe we get a match with. I think you won LA Knight at WrestleMania in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who and what we do. But what are you thinking about this match, and maybe where are we going with it?
I think we're definitely on a crash course. I kind of feel toward potentially Strowman versus Fatu. Listen. Like, do I want Braun near the belt? Yeah, I'm not saying I don't want him near the belt. I feel like he makes an excellent contender, if that makes any sort of sense. Now, if he wins it, I wouldn't be upset. But to me, if you're going to put a belt on a guy right now, it's got to be Jacob Fatu, because the minute he showed up in this company, he had the it factor, and now that he's kind of, I don't want to say separating himself from Solo and Tama Tongue, it feels like Jacob. Listen, basically, Jacob Fatu is he's pulling a Lionel Richie. Okay, like he realized that he's the star of the group, And he's like, well, I think I can be champion. Like I can be a single champion. He could do something, and he hasn't been in the company as long as Solo. If Jacob Fatu wins the United States title, then we can start having those conversations about Solo.
Yeah.
I'm listen. I'm not to be clear. I want to be super duper clear here. I'm not saying oh we should panic, but we should be concerned.
Yeah.
Because if Jacob Fatu comes in and we get a potential triple threat between LA Knight, Braun, and Fatu, and maybe somehow Solo gets involved in it. Listen, this might be the WrestleMania. You're gonna see a lot of triple threats and fatal four ways, and like Craig brings up the point. You could if Fatu wins at WrestleMania at SummerSlam. Yeah, there's plenty of ways to go, but Jacob Fatu winning it put Strong with the Wyatt. I mean, you could, but to me, like Jacob Fatu, like I think all signs are pointing this man's going to win the U.S. title at WrestleMania. What night? Listen, I'm not charging booking, but I think that's the kind of route we're going and the way it's kind of being built, and I'm okay with it.
Put the rocket ship on him, let him win the belt. All right.
Yeah.
Best promo of the night, or best recorded promo. Let's give it to Naomi. That backdrop, everything, the camera work, background, everything, great. And I love that she was addressing Bianca. And then she made Jade sound like just an inconvenience. And of course, so Jade in the segment, this is where I say someone needs babyface glasses. So she tells Nick, well, I'm letting you know it's on site. Okay. We know what that means. All right. I do hope LA Knight wins because he's my guy, but I'm coming to terms with that being unlikely. We'll see. I mean, if it's a multi-man match, don't be surprised if LA Knight wins. Because you have time to put belt Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu may lose because of Solo. And you get that moment of he breaks out and takes out Solo. Because, that's where I'm thinking too. Sorry, I just saw that line with Craig and I wanted to go into that real quick. But she's talking with Michin and BFAB, and now they're going to go down to, get ready for their match. And Naomi is a wrecking ball. She is beating up both women. All right. Now the only part I had an issue with. So Jade comes out running, fine, perfect, everything's looking good. Jade did say it was on site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did she keep chasing Naomi?
These are all great questions.
I mean, I don't mean to bust holes in logic or bring logic into a wrestling show, but
listen, yeah, I did that earlier on Raw, so you can do it here.
Well, okay, good. You just said it's on site. We're going to explain what is on site, what is not on site. This is not on site. This was, I'm going to run you out, but I'm going to check on my friend because I don't really have many and I got to kind of check on this one. And I'm not used to being a friend because I don't know which arm to put over my head. She looked like a fish out of water. And I almost wanted to go, can someone please teach her how to be a babyface? It's not that hard. I'm not trying to make you literally turn a 180, but dear God, just have some basic fundamentals. She's so awkward, and I love her to death. But anyway, by the way, the android beat. So she's supposed to be so concerned about BFAB, but Charlotte's music comes on, the android, and she's like, "Oh, I need to see what this android's about," and just lets her go. Lesson 1. On site, That was not on site. Number 2, you need babyface classes. You didn't know how to put someone's arm over your head. Number 3, you dissed the person you were helping to look at the android Charlotte Flair. Jade, I'm trying. I really am trying.
But
Please.
I'm not defending. I'm not defending Jade, but I think something is important to me, and I think we might have had this discussion before.
Yeah.
Where we got to understand where from the previous company she worked.
Oh, I know.
She worked as a heel.
Yeah.
And some people can make that seamless transition into face to heel face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not defending Jade. It's not saying, because you have people on the roster right now probably in the same position as she is in. But
yeah,
I think
Shayna Baszler can't play a face. She really can't.
It's like, she's always gonna whether it's fair or not. But my biggest thing is, I think we have to understand is that I think she's going to learn, because I think we still have to understand she's been in this company how long, and it's not defending.
Over a year though, bro.
But here's the thing, C-Dub. Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying is that where she came from, like if you think about it, it was always her and Bianca. It was always her and some. She's never that the spotlight. She's never asked to do this on her own. Mm-hmm. And we see this sometimes, like Shayna Baszler, for example, is a great point, because Shayna Baszler, for as long as she's been there, Shayna Baszler could not be a face. Mm-mm. And she's been in the company how long? And I keep bringing that up because even when you're in the company 5, all these years, it's still difficult to make that transition. Mm-hmm. And in the case of Jade Cargill, she worked at a company where she was the top female heel. Oh, now, mind you, when she came to WWE, she came in, played off as the babyface, but now it's now it's on a bigger stage than a bigger situation. Like, I'm not trying to run circles to defend her. I'm just saying somebody else sees the same thing you see. And they'll tell her, hey, this is what you're doing is great, but let's kind of adjust it, adjusting the tone, adjusting the words. Yeah. And, maybe, focusing on certain syllable, little nuance thing. And there's people in there that's going to help her.
Oh, and that's how I feel. Like, I try not to let it get to me, but it's almost like this: when you see one thing and you see another, and then when you see it all in one moment, you're just going, and you see what they're trying to do, and you see that it can be done. But it's almost like the old, you just want to throw the person out of the way and go, let me do this for you. Let me show you how it's done. It's almost like when you're teaching someone how to do a job.
Yeah.
All right. And it's like, you want to show them, but the best way for them to learn is actually go through it. I get that. All right. And I get the whole, I've not done this, but what I'm saying is, it's almost like this. If you're playing the face, you have to understand it's like the dynamic roles. Heel, you could be as demonstrative, but as a face, you have to be more reactive. And it's only, just subtle things. That's all. And it's just one of those. And it's like this. The reason I bring this up isn't to attack. It is to help, because I want to see her flourish.
Yeah. No. I understand.
Yeah. No, I think she's going to be one of those. If she gets this, watch out. She can have some really great programs. I think this Naomi program is going to be great for her. Yeah, I really do. And it's just one of those. I'm just hoping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing. We saw how Roman Reigns struggled in a promo with John Cena. And people wrote him, and I'm not trying to compare Jade to Roman, But
Funny you bring that up though, because that's something someone else brought up today. Was
it just feels like, yeah, to me, she's going to figure it out.
yeah,
And that's my whole thing.
yeah,
Is where, like I understand, like I said, it's the other people who are just looking for reasons to kind of go after Jade. Like, oh, like, no, like, I'm not defending like the, but listen, she's been in the company a year, but you gotta understand her. It's how you do things at different places. When you work at different companies, the handbook, the rule book is not the same.
yeah.
And
And that
and
is
and
true. Too. That's
and,
very
and I think once she gets it, it's like just changing tendencies. It like little nuance things.
true. Hmm.
Because like she was the face when she came in, but preponderance of her time there, she was paired with Bianca Belair. So now
Yeah,
that it's a solo spotlight situation, we'll see.
yeah. Well, and I agree with you. And by the way, so also we found out Ray Phoenix is going to debut, and next Friday or this coming Friday, Miz gets beat by Jimmy. But the reason I wasn't going to talk about the match was because what happened with Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
So no need to really go over that one. But what I gotta say is this: I'm impressed. They talked about it during Penta's match. Ray, they said that Penta and Ray Phoenix are brothers, so they've made that very clear. People now know, and I love that. What did you think about that?
Is it? I like it because the thing is, you're pulling the curtain back for those who didn't know,
Yeah.
and not only that, it could potentially set up something down the road
Oh,
where you could have him as a tag. And I want people to think about this. Think about Ray Phoenix and Penta versus Motor City Machine Guns
yes.
versus DIY versus the street. It's coming, but
Yes.
let Penta have his singles run,
Hmm.
and let those guys have their individual singles run, and then when that's done, then we can kind of see where to go from there.
All right.
It's just my conjecture.
Oh yeah. We got Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre match. Only 10 minutes of it, but basically because Kevin Owens showed up. I liked how the distraction happened because it wasn't like they started fighting. It was just, the old sixth sense that you felt someone there, and there he was. um, but then, so let's talk about that, and then also if you want to comment about, so my example on site, what Jade said was on site, not on site. When Drew and Bree said on site, they proved it because they were beating each other out in the parking lot.
Yeah,
By the way, to the dude that owned the car or drive, look, first of all, if it's a rental, CM Punk's going to have a nice long talk with Damian Priest. Second, dude, don't ever try to tell a man that big you can't do that to my car. He power bombed you through that table. You should know better. But anyway, Ladarius, what do you think about that? Both
well, what about the car? Because listen, I mean, hope he had insurance. Like,
I was talking about the match with Orton, and then of course
oh
the
well, that
brawl
too.
with
Well, I didn't know what we were talking about, but listen, I hope that guy had a car insurance.
yeah, I did too. We're going to talk about, or I want to hear your thoughts on Orton and McIntyre, that match, and then of course Kevin Owens, and then talk about the Priest and McIntyre fight.
Yeah, but I think I just did. Listen, my guy. Listen, the guy in the insurance. That's the big story. And and the funny part about that is that I know I'm working backwards, but the funny part is, look who happened to walk by after Drew got slammed in the window, and that just said like that was done on purpose with precision. And I'm like, I see what you're doing, Paul. I see what you're doing. I see.
I loved it. I thought that was so
It's
freaking
like, oh
hilarious.
no. I'm like, oh no. And then Drew goes on goes on X and talks about that he was going through real close. Like, oh my
He had
god.
the eye patch.
Yeah. But moving backwards, like talk about the match itself. The match was great.
Hmm.
And I think, having Kevin Owens, like it's it's just dynamic. Anytime Randy Orton's in the ring, I like it's always the chemistry is just always there, and especially with a guy like Drew, it works. Like to me, it didn't matter who necessarily won or lost the match. We know. Listen, Kevin comes down, and then we know what happened to Drew. Blah 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 blah. Drew wins it, but to me, it just having to put that match there. It was a great match, and even with the inclusion of Kevin Owens in it, it adds the intrigue, it adds to the excitement, and it's one of those things where just kind of moving forward, like it makes you want like how can I phrase it? It was a great match, and that crowd really was into it, and that was key. Whether it's the international crowds or the state, the reaction may have been different, but the reaction was amazing for this match. And like I said, with Kevin Owens getting on, it made it that much better.
You there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I just finished.
Sorry about that. I was having to do something. All right, my bad. So,
No, you're good.
I thought the Priest and Drew McIntyre fight was hilarious. And of course the Capaldi guy was there too. So good on him. Now that I know who he is. And then trying to find something. Let's talk about it. Contract signing, where apparently people love to sing to Roman Reigns, and he's obsessed with checks. Because my God, I hope now I need a shirt that just goes going to WrestleMania. Check. But I enjoyed Roman, I enjoyed Seth, and I enjoyed Punk. What did you think about the contract signing itself? Who kind of maybe stood out, or just your views of the match, or what we're looking into when we see this match happen?
I mean, it's all the personalities in that ring. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You had Seth, you had CM Punk, Roman, and then Paul Heyman. When they did Roman right, and then you see Roman put the mic under Roman right, and I'm like, it's like how can you not like that? Like the whole segment was great, and then we add layers to it where like and then when Paul Heyman said that CM Punk's main eventing WrestleMania, and it's like oh my, it's like one of those things where you're like, oh my God, he hasn't main event at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And it's like he's been at WrestleMania, he's never main evented.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that to me is a big deal. But what was the bigger deal is when he said that's not what the agreement, that's not what the favor was. And to me, when you can interweave multiple dynamics like in the storyline. Now we get CM Punk main event WrestleMania, big deal.
Yep.
But however, that's not the favor because that would be too easy.
Yeah.
And now it leaves Roman to think, well, what is the favor? And now I think he's starting to believe that Paul Heyman, it's something to do with, it's connected to Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
In terms of, it's something connected close for Punk to get involved. And that's why I say this summer you're going to start seeing, like, I think we get potentially a Punk Roman feud. I believe. And I think Paul Heyman's the X factor in what that favor is. Because yes, he gave the favor, but the specificity of the favor is important. And I think it specifically includes Paul Heyman to some capacity.
I'm wondering if he wants Paul Heyman as his wise man. Or
yeah. I'm thinking along those. Yeah.
I don't know. And I like that. I don't want to know, to be honest. I want to know until they tell us.
Right. Yeah.
It's like I'm loving it. And of course, the best reaction was Seth. I mean, your guy, Seth.
Yeah.
Went from the Joker to happy-go-lucky, no problem. But the moment Punk's music hit, and then when Punk saw, or when they said that Punk is going to be in the main event, he turned into an AEW fan. He was like, "No, no!" I mean, my God, I died laughing. But I mean, look, I think Punk. You know, I'm not. You know, I've said this before. I'm not a super fan of Punk, but I
Mhm.
have become a fan of his through this run because you could see what it means to, the time away. It definitely. And then when you eliminate the biggest problem in the room, which was the pervert that was in charge of everything. Um, a lot of stuff can be done, and I'm happy that Punk's involved. And truth be told, if we don't have CM Punk, to me, CM Punk was as vital as Seth Rollins was last year at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and Punk was hurt, so that should tell you something. Um, and I'm looking forward to that match. I think it'll be fun to watch. I think we're gonna have some great moments. And yeah, I'm look. The dynamic between Roman and Seth is one thing. The hatred from Seth and Punk, perfect.
Yeah.
Technically, Roman and Punk have no issue, except for the fact that Punk eliminated Roman. That's it. He don't like him, but that don't mean he doesn't want to go out of his way and beat him up.
Right.
It's not like the tribal chief is not like concerned with CM Punk. But now it's getting to the point where he's getting there that he needs to. So so that was our review on SmackDown. We talked Raw. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. AEW has lost me in so many things with their crap. I don't want to talk over their show because here's the thing. I want a good, viable um, contender. You got to have it, especially in this business. You don't want to have a monopoly, okay? But I will say this: when you give me a show that you gave me last night, and I will say this, dang, I'm having a hard time finding the thing. When I went, AEW said Rampage. I'm like, dude, that thing has been that's not even up. There's no such thing. You started the show with a guy that was White Vanilla, is what his code name is, versus Kenny Omega. Here's my problem. I would have just done the match. I would have just done a promo between him and Mike Bailey. All right, no thing about it. Just make it easy, quick, move on. Um, I don't know what the hell they're doing with certain talent. Mega Bane, the one that squashed or no sell Thunder Rosa, she's now the theme of the title shot. I think that's lame. Mox and Mox did a stupid stunt with the Lord of Spikes, right?
Mhm.
Wouldn't you have kept him off TV for at least a week?
Yeah. But once
No,
again,
no, no. We got to get him to have a promo with Swerve Strickland.
yeah.
Mr. Shockwave. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Swerve Strickland ran his mouth about, oh, we're gonna be on Fox. We got our stuff set up. Yeah, that actually went down the toilets, just like their ratings have. And by the way, don't bring that article up about SC scoops by whatever Berthal, Al, whatever Doug, BJ, whatever his name is. Um, I saw this, I heard it, and all I went was, so you're telling me they're averaging 1.5 viewers every week, 1.5 million viewers every week because of Max. I call horse crap because if that was the real number, Tony Khan would have been bragging about it by now. So yeah, and then apparently, so Dax is feeling like Cope is holding them back from winning the tag titles. Last I checked, Dax was teaming up with Andy Garcia or Daniel Garcia. Someone explain that to me. I mean, yeah, the numbers BS. Totally agree. Now, look, the best thing about what was it? But here's the problem: they brought out Athena to go after Mercedes on Collision during the Final Four or Sweet 16. I don't think anybody watched it. So again, and then total BS on the numbers. Yeah, thanks, Greg. And John, I love that comment about Mercedes about Mega Bay and Tony Storm. Does anyone care? I don't, because after I saw the stuff with Thunder Rosa, I felt like they buried her. I thought when I saw that, I thought, okay, they're going to get rid of her or punish them. No, they've been promoted. So that just tells me the company didn't care. So I have I have a big issue with that. Did you hear anything about Booker T confronting Swerve Strickland?
I heard bits and pieces.
Okay. Basically, Swerve saying that Booker had no problem with Vince saying the N word. He should have stood up. And well, this past weekend, Booker was at an event, and Lord and behold, guess who's with him? Swerve Strickland. Like Ron likes to say, at this moment, you knew.
Yeah.
Well, Booker T got a hold of Swerve, and by the not by the ear, but you could probably figure that's how it went. Where he's saying, basically told him to his face, "So you think racism is over because I was wrestling?" One of the lines I heard him say was, "You can go through in WWE history. I was on every show. What were you doing? I made sure and stayed. I made sure and earned and kept my spot. What's your excuse?" And he talked about the Vlad TV, about how they basically like to pit people one against each other. And at that point, I'm just like, Swerve to me really put his foot in his mouth. And I've always had a problem when you disrespect a legend, you really shouldn't be saying crap. But what do you think?
Yeah, I guess the best way to put it is this. I understand what both sides are saying, but I lean toward the side of Booker T. And here's why. We have to understand and listen, it's not a justification for the actions, for the word. I'm not going to repeat the word. We all know what the word is. It's simply like this. It was done, and no one, like I said, I get where Swerve is coming from, but what Swerve has done, and I say what he has done, he doesn't understand anything. My biggest thing is, I just kind of feel that Swerve has to understand that it's a different era. It was a different era of wrestling then, because and you kind of saw peaks of that with Mickey James's comments on LFG, where it's a different era. Nobody's saying it was right. Nobody's saying, yeah, that was great to what happened. But like, simply put, Booker T is a 2-time WWE Hall of Famer. One of the best wrestlers, not just in WWE history, but in WCW history. It's very rare that a wrestler is pretty good in two different promotions. Booker T is one of those guys who can say that. It had success in both. And yes, did he? Yes, we know. Listen, he said the word, yeah, but the reality is, it could have been worse than that. And I'm not saying what Vince said in that was right, because a lot of people were outraged. People had a right to be upset.
Mhm.
But like for Swerve to kind of go after Booker that way, it's like this. Swerve, when we look back at your career 10, 15 years after you retire, somebody's going to come at you and ask, hey, why did AEW allow this?
Mhm.
Why would AEW tell people to cut I said, why would you allow AEW how they treat and book, why would, here's the thing. I said, aren't you the same company that allowed House were set on fire?
Mhm.
Weren't you the same company that we saw blood every other week on your programming?
Yeah. Didn't we see a man get impaled with spikes?
It's easy to go down a path when you come at somebody.
Mhm.
But the question is, if you can see, people don't like it when you come back at them.
Yeah.
And see, that's the point that I think Swerve has to understand. And listen, I think Swerve is fantastic.
Yeah.
But Swerve has to understand is that, and I love him. Booker's, I'm not defending all of what WWE did. And they will tell you, like I said, it's not tying in the thing with Mickey James, but like it was controversy about her comments toward, Zena Sterling on LFG,
Mhm.
where it was a different era, and Mickey has a right to feel that way. And to me, I was the Undertaker, the whole thing just looking like, oh man, I don't want no part of this.
Yeah.
Undertaker was like I was the Undertaker, because it's like you don't know what to say, and I'm not going to pass judgment either way in that situation.
Mhm.
But in
And
this
sometimes
particular
the
instance,
best thing to do is just walk away because you don't want
yeah,
to. Yeah.
but in this particular case with Booker T and Swerve, I side with Booker,
Yeah. Well,
because
so
at the end of the
yeah.
day, how can you talk about racism? Like, here's the thing: were there racial tones in the Attitude Era? Yes, because how do I know that? I said, this is what I tell people to do. Go look up the feud between Triple H and Booker T,
Yep.
and go look at those specifically some of those promos
Ooh.
that Triple H cut on Booker T. If anybody in WWE had a right to say they were pissed, it was Booker T.
Mhm.
Every stereotype. So when Booker T is telling me that, not saying Booker T never said he was cool with it.
Yeah.
He never said he was cool with it. He's just saying, hey, at that time, yeah, go look at exactly, Dre.
Exactly.
DX in the
Yeah. I
Nation.
remember that.
No, here's the thing. I'll do you one better, Dre. Go look at what was DX, the Nation, and what was the Hart Foundation.
Mhm.
Because remember when DX, they were on the Titantron, and then I think Shawn Michaels had said, "Oh, I think I heard Brett say the N word."
Mhm.
And the next thing you know, and which to me, listen, I love the Hart Foundation. Why are you still looking at the monitor? You know them, those guys, the Nation was in the ring. Why are you looking up at the monitor? Because you know they're running after you, right? I'm assuming that. Oh my God, they're here. You had time to react. I'm not gonna get into that. It's gonna be the whole 75% thing again. But the point is, I can point Dre's point example. I point out example of the racial overtones.
Mhm.
So I said, Swerve, why you're specifically going after Booker for that? But you could call out WWE for other stuff too, and we could call out your company for some of the stuff that they've done.
Yeah.
I said it's a two-way street. I said, listen, you know what? No one's talking about. Listen, NWA. I'm not talking about the amazing rap group. I'm talking about the. I said, remember when they were doing drugs? I'm like it was casual. I'm like, nobody's talking about that because they moved on. We moved on from that Swerve. Just like you're going to want people to say to move on when people talk about your company. Booker, yeah, the promo, like there's so many examples there's too many racial overtones, and Swerve is just picking at the one black guy that he's a two-time. You're trying to attack him like it's like no, because if any promo, Crime Time, yeah, Dre, go look up Crime Time. What were they accused of being? Crooks, thieves. That's how we were stereotyped. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get angry but it's like Swerve. You have to understand. No one's saying anything. What Booker T was saying was that he didn't say it was right. He didn't say he was, oh yeah, I loved it. What he was telling you. That's the way. I took no offense in what Booker T said because I agree with what he said. Because if Booker T, they ran him through the ring, and what happened? He became King Booker. If you overlook the racial overtones, not saying you overlook it and just go, but you chose highlight that part of his career that he probably didn't want to talk about. It's like Kurt Angle when he was at TNA. People kept calling him Perk Angle. He didn't want to talk about it, so we called him Peak Angle because that does something to your mental health. I'm not saying Booker suffered trauma from going, being called the N-word or having to go through that promo with Triple H, and when he was already dealing with the overtones from that promo with Hogan, that was still haunting him, probably to a certain degree, because that's what people thought of him. It's simply like this. Swerve is going to come a point in your career where they're going to shine a light on stuff like that you've done. And we're in the company of the promotion that you work for.
No,
and I will guarantee you. I'm sorry, what was that?
No, you're saying I want you to keep talking, but I'm gonna ask you a question. What I wish someone would ask for? What do you think about John Moxley's clan gimmick? Inspired by a Nazi film, actually.
You
have no problem calling out Booker. Did you have a problem with this?
I said,
did you? What you just said about how people can bring this, that's another thing.
Yeah, and listen, Dre brings up Junkyard Dog. Oh. You could bring up you could bring up guys like Ernie Ladd.
Yeah.
You could bring up a whole. I hate to say Tony Atlas's name, but Swerve. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this. I'm not. What Swerve doesn't understand that people who look like you and me, Swerve, had to endure the nonsense to have the things that we have today. And you have the nerve to, with the all-time straightest face, to sit there and call out Booker T. How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? Because listen, guys like Ernie Ladd, guys like the Junkyard Dog, people of Ron Simmons had to go through the ringer just to prove that we belonged. Nobody said how they were treated was right. Nobody said how they treated was fair. But damn it, they went through it. And like to Dre's point, you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you ask Ron Simmons, you ask them guys, they will tell you they didn't like it, but they understood that if they failed, then every single person who looked like them after that would fail too. And I say WWE is guilty of stereotypes. They've done it with the Black community. They've done it with the Asian community. They've done it. What's that?
Remember, they did that. They did that one thing with the Mexicans, where they're riding on lawnmowers. I mean,
yeah. Look what they did the last team. You had them coming out. Had Lost Rio. They had S.A. Rios and those guys coming out on lawnmowers.
Yeah.
And then John Bros brings up Jimmy Wayne. Yeah. Look how listen. This is the same company. They had a character named Beaver. Like that's all you need to know. And literally, go look it up. think it was Beaver Cleaver or Cleaver, whatever it was. And then they had like her. It was a terrible storyline. Terrible storyline. Because one of the headbangers worked, because the other headbanger was out injured, so they had to convert the character. But the point is this, and I'll be done. I won't take up too much time. Swerve doesn't get it because Swerve doesn't understand that it goes deeper than wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about race. I said every part of our society was racist then. There's no denying. People say, oh, no, it's not. No, we're not going to go that route. But wrestling was no different than how society was and how they treated the black wrestlers. And at the end of the day, like Craig said, WWE and wrestling in general are no stranger. Exactly. That's the point. So, Swerve, nobody's sitting there saying what happened then was okay because you still see parts of it today in wrestling. So, I don't want to hear it. I said, how do you think it made fans like me feel saying stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine how Booker T's of the world and the Ron Simmons of the world and how the Tony Ellis's of the world, how the Junkyard Dogs of the world felt. Like, Swerve, get over it. Get over it. Because I say you're taking a 2-time Hall of Famer's career and you're belittling it to letting the N-word, let Vince saying the N-word, and you're really, and Dre, that's my whole point, Dre. That's my whole point, Dre, that wrestling takes on the culture, and it does.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. And shout out to Dre, thank you. Because that sentence is a summation of my whole point. I hope that point came across to the chat and everybody else. It's that how wrestling was no different than society. You see how society's changing, wrestling changes with it. Society then, nobody's saying it was right, nobody's saying it was wrong. A lot of people, you have people, I'm not going to go down that route. But the point is this. For Swerve to say what he said to a 2-time WWE Hall of Famer who resume trumps yours by a country mile, how dare you? How dare you say things like that? When people before Booker T had to walk and run. And like, correct, yeah, our society has taken a step backwards. And you're seeing, listen, you see it on social media. Because listen, I've been called some things I'm not going to dare say on this show. CDouble knows, I've shown it. So to Craig's point, it's right. I'm not saying it's right or fair, but it's the standard. And Swerve has to understand, you could walk. Listen, you're running because other people before you walked ahead of you.
Yeah.
Once you get that, we'll be better off. I'm done. I took up too much time. Back to you.
All right. And look, I'm not trying to get you heated. You know that. It's just these are things that keep coming up, and I don't want to feel like we're skirting them if this is something that people are talking. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. 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 Well. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah. Don't worry, Dre. We'll speak on something else. Here's what I'm going to say. What Booker T said, and here's what I had a problem with Swerve about. You have no problem looking at everybody else but the plank that's in front of your eye, which is your show. I get it. Be all hardcore for your show. Make sure that I wanted to make sure I got all the comments out. You know, be hardcore. Make sure everyone knows that your show's better. You know what? I get it. But here's the problem. You're the same man that said, well, the WWE is like a major box office movie. And AEW is like this A84 project movie. Are you trying to tell me this that you work for an independent company, a small company? Because you just bragged about your contract deal. And that's why I want to go stop. Stop doing the poor little company, or we're just a little engine that can't. No, you're making money. You're doing your good thing. Okay, good for you. But stop. This whole thing where, well, they're bad because they do this. Well, they're bad because, guys, it doesn't matter. And yeah, here's something for you. So AEW can't wait for November 16th. Why is that date important? Because they're going to surpass WCW Nitro. Here's the problem. When head-to-head competition, NXT or AEW didn't go against Monday Night Raw, didn't go against SmackDown. They couldn't even handle NXT now. They beat them once, and then it ain't been close since. So yeah, you know what? They want to brag about that. They want to, get a ticker tape parade. They want to get an in-season tournament banner and wave that on the, so Tony Khan could dance with it. Fine, do it. But just know you're not going to be taken seriously. And I'm sorry. That's why I can't take Bret Hart did an interview with Ariel Helwani. Check it out. I also posted the link on my or I posted the clip it what Bret said. I'm gonna see if I can find the actual interview, or if they'll post it on YouTube. If they do, I'm gonna post that also on my Twitter at CDouble But I'll put that on there so y'all can check it out. Listen to what Bret. My thing is this, and Ladarius, you can also speak on this too. Do any of these guys watch the old school? Do they watch like these documentaries that happened to these guys that wrestled in the past? Because I've seen the New Jack video. I've seen Dark Side of the Ring with New Jack. I've seen it with Junkyard Dog. That was emotional. You know the stories. They're gonna have one about Tony Atlas. They had one with Mick Foley, and then today Mick Foley gets in a minor car accident. Thank God it was minor, but or it's a minor concussion. But that car didn't look minor. It looked like it was totaled out. But anyway, Mick, please stay healthy. Because Mick Foley, it's been impressive that he's still going. But all the damage he took in that match, and basically that Dark Side went from his career from Hell in a Cell match to after that, and what kind of complications he deals with. It's tough to watch, but yet you kind of go, "Oh my God!" You realize what he was willing to do. And I just look at all these wrestlers, or I look at these guys that are in these matches. They're not the unprotected chair shots, the damn syringe spot, which made my stomach turn. The cinder blocks. You don't need all that crap. If you're a good wrestler, just do the wrestling. You don't, if you need a weapon, you need a street fight, got it. But damn, some of the things that they were doing was ridiculous. Yeah, Foley may not be human. Craig, yeah. Thank God Mick Foley is okay. Mick Foley. And here's the thing, guys. He actually talked about CTE and all those. He's like, he doesn't know. He thinks he will get it, but his goal is to fight and keep his mind as active as possible. So I'm hoping so too, because I love seeing any story with Mick Foley. He is really God, man. He really touches my heart when you think of Mick Foley. He is one of those guys that when you look at him, you realize he's that guy that will just wanted to be loved, and it's like, dude, you're freaking Mick Foley. You're awesome. Just be yourself. Don't worry about anything. And by the way, his daughter is freaking hot. And by the way, 35 years he's been married to his wife. Holy crap, that was
Yeah.
so impressive that she didn't murder this man after some of the things that man did. So anyway, well, that's about it for our show. I hope y'all enjoyed. Ladarius, you there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I haven't heard what tonight's Dark Side of the Ring is. Give me a second. I wanted to see, look it up. I was actually on Twitter trying to find, like Vice will say what's their next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Vice TV, check it out. I also will say I really enjoy. I am. I mean, oh, this is interesting. So tonight is going to be Ludwig Borga, the Hellraiser from Helsinki. Interesting. He probably killed somebody because they're saying it's controversial. So I'm like, wait. See, that's the one thing about the Dark Side of the Ring. You'll turn on, you'll go, oh man, I can't wait to watch, and then by the end of it, I didn't know that man was a murderer.
Hi, we're not. Hey, to the fan of Jimmy Snooker, we're not talking about you, but
That was Bruiser Bedlam. When I'm watching that one, I went, what the?
either way.
Like, I didn't even know who the guy was, and so I'm watching the thing, and it said what he was. I was like, wait, hold on. Okay, now you got my attention. I need to watch this. So yeah, there's some good ones. I have watched every episode they've done. Some I don't rewatch, but there's some I can rewatch. But yeah, also like Tales of the Territory. If you ever looking for a good one to watch, just to hear a bunch of guys telling stories, that's a good one to watch. They only did one season, and I'm kind of bummed about that. I wish Rock and Danny did more than one season of that. I think that'd be fun, but it is what it is. Let's see. Got NXT as well. Yep, that'll be tonight. Mick Foley gave us everything when he was in the ring, and that man, yes, yeah, yeah, he gave it all, man. So, guys, all right, Ladarius, give him some shout outs and tell them where they can find you, my brother.
Well, first of all, thank you guys to the chat. Sorry if I went on a couple of rants today. I apologize to the chat. And to my co-host. Shout out to my personal advocate, my Craig,
Yes.
Dre, John, Carrie. Double checking and seeing. I think I covered every Christy for dropping in. April/Ron. Thank you for all for showing up. It's much appreciated. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at Ladarius_Brown. Instagram Ladarius_Brown. I writer editor for Beyond Women's Sports. I've been working on the women's double turbo. I've been loving doing these previews. I'll be doing the preview of the two Final Four games between UConn and UCLA, which is a very, very, very interesting matchup in my opinion. And then you have on the other side, you have South Carolina versus Texas. So I think I got the matchup right. So be on the lookout for those coming out. Like I said, if not tomorrow, then definitely Thursday as that gets underway on the 4th, which is on a Friday. And once again, thank you all to the chat. You're all amazing. Thank you, CDouble. And that's all I got.
Who do you think is going to win it for the women?
Oh God. Hey. Listen, I'm a UConn fan. I'm a UConn women's. I'm not a fan of the UConn men's team. They can kiss my. Now, I've been the UConn's women's team for over 20 years.
All right.
UCLA is going to be a test. I think, they got the Lauren Betts and they got Kiki Rice. South Carolina is, ironically enough, South Carolina is all three of the teams they've beaten South Carolina the last couple of years. Those and they haven't lost much, but the only three teams they've lost to are in the Final Four. That's a dynamic to look out for. So no one's scared of to me, I just feel, listen, people may not like it. I think we get UConn and South Carolina one more time. I think UConn finds a way with Paige Beckers. I think South Carolina is going to face a very, very, very good Texas team with with Romy Harmon and Madison Booker. So give me UConn versus South Carolina.
By the way, this would have been the week. This weekend would have been the weekend we get WrestleMania, but they pushed it down a couple of weeks. So this would be my first time in a while to actually watch the Final Four. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing the men's and the women's games. So it's going to be fun. Can't wait. And what do you think about the guys? I mean, we got Duke and Houston, and Florida versus Auburn.
Whew.
I think I'm going Duke, and I'm gonna go. I want Auburn to win against Florida, but I don't know, man. I'm
I listen. I felt from the beginning either a team from the SEC or the Big Ten, because those are the two best conferences in basketball this season, and we have two of the best in the SEC going at it, and we have Duke and Houston. You know, listen, that Duke team.
Yeah, I know.
Like Houston is great, but it's not just Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
It's and that's what makes it tough. As for Florida and Auburn, listen, that game could be an absolute shootout. Could be. Two great offenses, and we saw how Walter Clayton Jr. versus Johnny Broome. It's going to be a great Naismith finalist. So, but listen, Florida Duke feels right, and if it feels right, but so Cooper Flag, it seems Duke has all the villains. It's like if you think about it, JJ Redick, like that sounds like a guy like Cooper Flag is a guy like, oh yeah, that guy's the villain. That guy's a Marvel villain somehow. I don't care what, but it's like whatever his. So Craig is spot on with that. But give me Florida and Duke for the national championship.
See, I think Duke's going. I think that Duke's going to win. I want to see Bruce Pearl, but I'm kind of like you. After what Florida did, I got to see Florida lose. So I could see Duke go against Florida, and I still like you said, it's not that they haven't played their best game. It's that every time someone comes up for them, they still find that gear. They just, oh my god, it's just crazy to watch them. They have been amazing this tournament. Man, they really have. I mean, that game, the last game they played, I was like, wow. And like I said, the Florida one was impressive. I thought Texas Tech was going to take them out. They didn't call that last time out, and then they made that run, and I'm like, what? The old saying, hey guys, be careful, don't play with tight booty syndrome. Boys, Texas Tech was tight. So, hey. All right. So yeah, well, folks, to find me, it's CDouble 28 on YouTube, and then I'm on CDouble AWTN on X or YouTube or Twitter. So you want to find, me and Ladarius, we collab, we talk, we tweet back and forth. So if you want to tweet us anything, please do. We love it. We love the engagement, everything. Tell your friends about the show, and then also we will be covering next week, probably Wednesday. I did it today because some plans snuck up on me for tomorrow, so I wanted to make sure and get this done today. Especially after how heated I was after that damn show. So, and I'm so glad I wasn't the only one that thought Michael Cole and McAfee were a lot over the top, because I was like going, man, maybe I'm the guy, maybe I'm the problem. So, and look, and if I am, I'll say it. I don't mind. It doesn't hurt my feelings. So, but yeah, with that being said, that's Ladarius. I'm C-Dub. Thank you guys so much. See you Thursday. We're going to do a show 10:30. The NFL season, or the NFL coaches meetings, they decided to honor April Fools with Raheem and Arthur Blank to speak to us. And well, kind of wish they did, because it was extremely painful. So, with that being was said, we'll talk more. See us Thursday at 10:30. And again, thank you all so much for being on the show. Craig, thanks for being the star of the night with your tweets. And John, you were a trip too. Great, thank you so much. And everybody else that was part of it. I'm C-Dub. That's Ladarius. We out.
Peace.
See ya.